Hi, do you know today's thought? And when I saw what I'm going to share with everybody today, I was tempted to shout, stop the presses, except that this is not a newspaper, and there is no press. There are no presses to stop. So this is just, well, as I'm sure all of you know or should know, Jews vote overwhelmingly Democrat. I'm a Jew myself, but I'm an outlier. I'm a conservative, but we're very much in the minority among Jews. But that could be changing because of this story that I'm about to share with you. Now, I've done stories in the past about people getting, well, mostly black voters, black Democrats getting red pilled, changing and voting Republican. But I've never done a story about Jews happening to Jews, but that's going to change today. And what's really surprising, this story comes from New York City, which is a heavily Democratic city. Of all, whatever your religion is, I lived in New York for 40 years. I was definitely political minority there. And I don't know. You'd have to look a long time. If you're a conservative, you'd have to walk for quite a while to find another conservative in New York. So it really surprised me what I'm going to share right now, but I'm going to give you the headline and quotes from the article. And I linked to the article in the description so you can read it now. You can read it later, but it's in the description if you want to read the whole article. But here we go. Majority of New York Jews to vote for Trump in presidential election. A staggering 53% of Jewish voters in New York State plan on voting. Oh, so not just New York City. We're talking New York State. But, most of the Jews in New York State are in New York City. But anyways, that's still a staggering 53% of Jewish voters in New York State plan on voting for former President Donald Trump in the November election, a new Siena College poll found. Just 44% of the chosen people in the deep blue state will back President Joe Biden in the race, according to the survey, which polled 65 Jews out of 806 total voters. The spike in New York Jewish voters backing Trump has come in the wake of the murderous October 7 Hamas terrorist attacks on Israel, with anti-Semitic hate crimes and anti-Israel protests surging in New York City. So it doesn't, Palestine must be free from the river to the sea. These giant demonstrations, such as the one I showed you in the thumbnail for this thought. So, in a way, I would be shocked that the Jewish New Yorkers, at least, weren't getting the message that they're being thrown under the bus by, a large part of the Democratic Party is hostile, is anti-Semitic and anti-Israel, and they've been blind to it for years. I obviously haven't been, and now they're getting red pilled. They're seeing the light, and they're now, but the kind of loyalties. When you're set in your ways, it's hard to change. And New York is so liberal, and Jewish New Yorkers are so liberal that I guess that finally this was the straw that broke the camel's back, and finally, because it would take a lot to get them to get most Jewish New Yorkers to vote for not just for Republicans but for Donald Trump. Now the bad news is, one thing, you have to take this poll with a grain of salt, I guess, because it was a sample of about 800 total, and then just the Jews in the sample were about 69. So that's a very small sample, and so I don't know what the margin of error on that would be. And the bad news is, I guess, if you support Donald Trump, I would love to see him carry New York State. That would be fantastic. I think Ronald Reagan was the last Republican to carry New York State. So Jews they're 13% of the New York population, and just a little over half of them would vote for Trump. So it's not going to affect the election. It's not. New York is going for Biden or whoever replaces him. So I guess that's that's a fly in the ointment. But still, it does perhaps show the beginning of change, and I for one am happy to see it. I left the Democratic Party way back in 1980 with Ronald Reagan. Actually, he changed me completely from I guess moderate, tending towards liberal, to staunch conservative, and it was Reagan that did it. And it's nice to be seeing that I'll be having some company, and I'm planning of doing. There was this is just as momentous, I guess. I've done stories already of black Democrats joining the Republican Party, but this is in Chicago. I think I'm going to do a story on this. She was just on television being interviewed, but a black Chicagoan, Chicago black person, fed up with the immigration, the way that this woke mayor, who was even wokier than the previous woke mayor, Lori Lightfoot, and the new one, Brandon Johnson, and they are so fed up with immigrants, frankly, being unlawful aliens, not even in the country legally, being given priority over black Chicagoans who are American citizens, loyal citizens, vote, pay the taxes that are supporting these unlawful aliens. So, like Bob Dylan said, the times they are a-changin'. It's a little soon to say, but I guess we'll find out in November when we have the election. Because if Biden loses, if he loses most of the Jewish vote and a large part of the black vote, then the Democrat, if that trend continues, the Democrats are pretty much finished as a governing party in this country, because they need overwhelming support for both of those groups, especially black voters. Though they need, if they don't get 80%, then their geese are cooked. And I guess that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. If you could subscribe, that would really be great. Share this video with anyone you think would benefit from it. But most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.